It's the final Friday in the month of January. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Frontier Opening Bell. It's the 27th day of the new month, and somehow we're just wrapping up the month in the next two sessions. If you take Monday and Tuesday into account, Wednesday next week, we'll be cruising into the second month of the new year. How time flies. How did the market finish? Thursday, the Nigerian stock market saw a rebound in the shares of Greco Power, the only power generation company. Remember, the whole plan to buy some minority stake in Greco Power by FIDA, which is the fund for external development of the Afrexim Bank, is still ongoing. That deal is still on the table. So we've seen a lot of increased activities in the shares of Greco Power on the Nigerian exchange. So the index knocked up 0.29%, backed by strong gains also by big names within the banking space. The banking index went up 1.6%. Insurance up by 1%, adding Philip to the rest of the day. So that's the market. The BRVM went up roughly 0.7%. The composite index in Cote d'Ivoire was about 199.22. If that trajectory continues today, you can see the composite on the BRVM back at 200 reading. Then you've got the EGX closed for Thursday, 16,791. In South Africa, the JSE crossed back to 80,000, where it's briefly touched sometime about a week ago by roughly 1%, while the Nairobi bourse down by 0.17%. The first profit booking that we saw since the start of the week, 125.81 on the Nairobi Securities Exchange All-Share Index. Great. Let's look into the what's making the headlines, and of course quite a bit to deal with within the East African space, with the headlines coming through from Kenya Power looking to raise power tariffs by up to 117%. That's going to be really crunching for Kenyans, who will have to pay a whole lot more. But the President Ruto's administration wants as much revenue as he can get and scale down on Kenya's debt. The East African community, after grabbing DR Congo onto its fold, is now looking north to Somalia to join the East African community. And that could happen anytime soon between now and the first week of February. And I say congratulations to the East African community, folks. They seem to be expanding the economic community and politically speaking as well, faster than any other region on the African continent, north, east, west, and south. And Tullow Oil says it's looking to invest 1.2 billion shillings in Kenya's oil projects, while East African Portland Cement is looking at the DR Congo and Rwanda for an expansion. We've seen similar expansion in cement by cement makers out of Nigeria, Boa Cement as well as Dangote Cement, and see similar things taking place on the continent. Let's get the West Africa into the conversation this Friday, as the Nigerian Central Bank yesterday floated the National Development Bank. The whole idea is to reduce the dollar foreign exchange that Nigerians have to pay on doing transactions using MasterCards and every other cards. Now, the Central Bank says the National Development Bank, or the National Development Card, will help Nigerians do transactions and pay those charges in Naira and keep the money at home and sidestep the dollar foreign exchange issue by a little bit of a slight capital controls, if you want to put it that way, in terms of trying to manage the country's tight FX liquidity. But good news from Dakar, Senegal, the second Dakar Feed Africa Summit, where the African Development Bank promised it will put $10 billion on the table over the next 5 years to support Africa and make it the breadbasket of the world. And Sukuk issuance will boost Nigeria's Islamic finance sector between 2023 and 2024, and that's according to Fitch Ratings. While Tullow Oil in Ghana says it's going to pay no more taxes to the government as demanded by the Akufo-Addo administration. $300 million is what the Akufo-Addo's Ghana Revenue Authority in Ghana is asking Tullow Oil to pay, but the company says it's not going to pay any further. taxes as far as last year was concerned. The MTN Ghana is also going through a bit of a rough patch with the Ghanaian authorities as well when it comes to the previous tax bills that the authority, the GRA, slammed on the telco giant. And private equity firm Africa Invest has bought an unspecified minority stake in Just Right. Just Right is a Nigerian chain store that sells groceries, confectionaries, and things like that. Supermarkets, as it were, across major cities in Nigeria. Now it's got private equity Africa Invest to buy a minority stake in that, and that will definitely expand Just Right operations in Nigeria. Congratulations. Let me put that in. Let's get on to Southern Africa. And yesterday, the central bank, Leseja Kegyango, the governor of the SARB, announced the decision of a vote of 3-2 to move interest rate up by 25 basis points. And that was part of inflation targeting by the South Africa's Reserve Bank. But the bad news, well, is that the South Africa's GDP will likely be on a very sluggish level over the next 2 years, and that's the forecast from the central bank. And not some pretty good news moving forward for companies listed on the South African exchange, that's the JSE, because everyone seemed to be declaring a profit warning on the back of the problem of the Eskom utilities crisis. Eskom announced overnight that from this morning, load shedding will now go down to about stage level 4, and they'll try to keep things a little bit steady over the next days or weeks, as it were. But a rolling blackout in South Africa is expected to remain for at least another 2 years, and we're seeing profit warning from Alt Insurance, from ArcelorMittal, and a lot of other companies in the sugar industry, manufacturing, as well as mining. They're all declaring profit warning because of the impact of the power problem. And Getbox Bank in Zimbabwe says the plan to fully delist from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is still on track. That will happen anytime soon. And there's no plan to list on the Victoria Falls Exchange, and the plan to also recapitalize the company is also going on. That was an announcement made during the week. And after the South Africa is doing a secondary listing on the A2X exchange in February. Keep an eye on that. And we say congratulations for that. Quite a number of companies are doing dual listing on the A2X. Let's get into the North African space and grab a few headlines for you just to take you all into the weekend. Of course, you know, Thursday was the last trading day in Egypt, and the markets are closed until Sunday. In the meantime, Italian energy giant Eni is looking to invest about $8 billion in 2 natural gas projects in Libya, while Egypt's food exports was about $4.12 billion last year. That's according to economic data just coming through. While the Maghreb oxygen is reporting 35% decline in net income for the full year 2022. The earnings season is here, and that's coming from the Casablanca Stock Exchange, where Air Liquid, which is also listed on the Morocco Stock Exchange in Casablanca, announces a 12% decline in turnover at the end of full year 2022. And that's the news this Friday, the 27th of January. I am Bosin Omofaye. It's good to have everyone here. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. I intend to do the same. You can watch all our shows online. And of course, let's get back together next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.